I have a bunch of mail today. It's a mixed bag, a lot of eBay stuff. This is hardware. I got it from a seller in China on eBay, and it's got 100 M3 self-locking nuts. They have a fiber insert. So they're as good as a lock washer. In fact, I personally think they're better. And just 100 M3 hex nuts. And what I really wanted were these 8mm long Chicago nuts. Now, a Chicago nut normally comes with a matching screw, so really they're a pair. But they're called a Chicago nut. When the nut and the screw combined form a little dumbbell-shaped rivet. Screw on one end, on the a cross slot on the screw, plain on the nut. And I keep these on stock to repair leather slings. You can get these style nuts in all different lengths really cheaply at Staples or some other office supply stores. In the office world, they're called binder bolts, and they hold together a stack of paper. Punch a hole in it, in each sheet, stack them up, and screw the binder bolt together. You somehow have a bound set of documents. With thick documents, they work better than Staples. People mostly see them on those tear-off one-a-day calendars. There's usually 2 binder bolts, about that long, 1.25 inches. But these are less common in brass. Here's the seller's page, and you see they're described as Chicago nail or rivet or stud, but the industry calls them Chicago nuts. I ordered, I guess, 10 pieces of 8mm, and you can see, yeah, here you can see 10 pieces, 8mm, cost $6.38 plus, what's that, $2.40 shipping, $2.49, which is a real deal. I don't know what I sell these for in the shop, about $5 a piece, a pair, a set. Seller is, so this is what Chinese shipping packages look like now. And these are just more of 30 amp relays. I think I showed them in a previous video. Oh, I know what that is. These are for those common 9-volt spring terminal batteries. There we go. You know, they just snap in there. And the lid can be snapped on. And it can be secured, the lid, I guess, with a tiny, tiny screw. And I mean a tiny screw. I need 1 or 2 or 3 of these for some voltage standards I intend to build. And I thought this was a good deal. It was free shipping from the United States. Came in about 3 days. And they were, let's see, I bought 3 of them, so I guess they were $3.67 each. Free shipping, of course it says that over here. And this fellow here, that's the same as the return address in the package. He seems to have just a ton of these in different configurations. This is another eBay package. These are programmable timers, essentially a digital 555. It's probably not a 555, but it serves the same function. Repeat cycle timer, time delay. And the output is a 10 amp, 125 volt relay. I got these for my brother's greenhouse growing operation. Years ago, I built a board with 3 or 4 555 timers, set up as cycle timers, just on and off time. Everything was analog. And they worked really well. He seemed happy controlling watering operations, either subsurface root type irrigation or misting. I'm not sure exactly how he intends to do them. So the ones I got are 12 volt control or 12 volt power, and they're programmable. The difference in price was a few cents for enclosed versus unenclosed. We'll take a look at it later here. And I think they shipped all 4 of them for $4. And I don't know, they probably cost $4.50 a piece. The seller was this guy. He seems to have a whole bunch of timers. Just a dozen or 2 dozen varieties of timers. We'll take a quick peek inside. There we go. I'm imagining this thing will just fall out. No, it's actually fastened in with screws. He has been using it just a PC board. When he saw the enclosed ones, that sort of sold them on these. They're not marked in and out power. I assume this is the out. Here's the relay. Not sure what 2 of these terminals are for power, and I think one of them is for triggering. Here you can see the markings. These are 12 volt relays, so he'll hook 12 volts between here, ground and VCC. He will not use the in. and the relay output as a comment, and then a normally open and a normally closed. This is a quite large package. It says priority mail 3 days. I think that's after it got in the United States. What I've got here is some plastic wrap that did not secure the contents. They wrapped it, but they didn't seal or tape the ends. And what it is, there's 1, 2, 3 of these plastic enclosures in a resealable Ziploc bag. That's pretty nice. Well, should have known that was going to happen. An empty plastic bag. Front and rear panels. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4 long screws, 4 short screws, and that's what fell. It's not magnetic, so I can't drag a magnet around. And 4 plastic feet. Here is the eBay sellers page. Because I've used this case before, I have the dimensions in AutoCAD. Now this was not bad, $14 a piece, free shipping from Thailand. Now it took quite a while to get here, but this is the best price I could find for a case, for this case. And probably it was delayed by the virus. It's got a solid top. I know this is a top because of the threaded inserts for the long bolts. Bottom has cooling holes, or at least a vent. And I believe the popular 30-volt kit, the circuit board will sit maybe right here with the heat sink here. I'm not sure, but I think that this is a Highland project case. It's a nice case in that it has little now this is a groove, and this is a tongue, so that there's some fit between the top and the bottom of the case. So there's some rigidity even without the through bolts by virtue of the tongue and groove. Now there's a little bit of bow to this. That will straighten out when the front and rear panel are inserted. I've turned the case upside down. This is actually the top. That's the top. Inserted the front and end panels. The 4 little sheet metal screws I'm just going to store inside the assembled case, or just secure a circuit board here. And you can hang the board, or you can install it on the bottom. These little standoffs are on both the top and the bottom. So I'm just going to store them there to keep them from getting lost. I've got the long bolts installed. I'm going to put the bail so it lays flat against the bottom of the case, like that. It's inserted in the holes. Tighten these screws into the threaded inserts. So the bail sits on the bottom and it sits flush. So that the case will sit on the feet with the bail tucked nicely out of the way. Or I can pull outwards on the bail and rotate it up and make it a foot in order to tilt the case. Or I can continue up and make the bail into a carrying handle, although I can't really get my fingers in there. So for $14, trust me, that's a good deal. Although he claims to have sold 179. He claims to have sold 179 and only has 8 left. Now this fits nicely. It's nice and square. Look at this. There's a bump here. A little tiny bump. So I'll have to look and see if there's a casting defect that's causing this. But normally these cases are very nice. So there was a little tiny piece of flashing on the front panel. I cut it off with a pocket knife, and now it's nice and square. One thing you got to remember is that there are bolts approximately here and here, traversing inside from bottom to top, and they're right here, so they're not very far back from the front. So don't try to mount binding posts or potentiometers close to the edge, because checking to see that there's clearance for these bolts. It's especially nasty when you put a switch or something over here. If you're trying to put a lot of stuff on the panel. I've made that error a couple of times.